For 5 years, Daniel Ward has scrubbed fingerprints off glass walls and emptied trash cans in the top floor corner office, a place that smells like power and expensive perfume. By 11 p.m., the skyscraper is quiet, but the CEO's light is always the last to go out. Everyone in this building whispers her name with a mix of fear and respect. Ava Kensington, the woman who turned a failing tech firm into a billion-dollar empire. To her, Daniel is invisible. The single dad in a faded polo, pushing a mop cart while he worries about his daughter's asthma meds and overdue rent. Tonight should have been like any other shift. But when a framed photo slips off Ava's desk and lands at his feet, Daniel picks it up and freezes. 2 kids sit on a rusted playground swing, arms linked, wearing the same thrift store hoodies he remembers all too well. One of them is him. The other is the girl he promised never to leave behind. Before we start, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Daniel's grip on the silver frame tightened until his fingers hurt. The top floor was still, air vents hummed and rain tapped the glass. In the photo, 2 kids sat on a rusted playground swing. The boy had a buzz cut and a forced half smile. The girl's chin was lifted, eyes stubborn, a fading bruise along her jaw. He was one of them. The crooked fence, the leaning oak tree, the charity hoodies. They were all from the state group home he'd tried to forget. "Rosie," he whispered. The elevator dinged. Daniel flinched and hurried to set the frame back on Ava Kensington's immaculate desk, angling it exactly as it had been. He'd grabbed his cloth when the sharp rhythm of heels cut through the quiet. The glass door swung open. Ava strode in, trench coat unbuttoned over a navy dress, phone pressed to her ear. "If legal has a problem, they can email me," she said. "The acquisition closes Friday." Daniel slid toward the bookshelf, shoulders hunched. He knew the rules up here. Don't speak to the CEO unless spoken to. Don't linger. Don't touch anything personal. Ava ended the call, tossed her bag onto the chair, and looked up. "You're still on this floor?" she asked. "I thought maintenance was gone by 10. "Yes, ma'am, just finishing," Daniel said, keeping his eyes on the rug. Her gaze flicked to the desk. The frame was off by a fraction. "Next time, leave my personal things where they are," she said, straightening it. "It slipped. I'm sorry," he replied. "Then be more careful." She was already focused on her screen. Daniel pushed his card out, the squeak of the wheels echoing too loud in his ears. In the elevator, his reflection stared back. Early 30s, dark hair threaded with gray, blue jumpsuit. He thought of the boy in the photo and the social worker who had walked Rosie into a car he couldn't follow. He stepped out into drizzle. City lights smeared across a wet asphalt as he walked home. By the time he opened his apartment door, it was after midnight. "Dad?" a small voice called. Mia sat curled on the couch, inhaler on the table. "Hey, Bug. We talked about staying up," he said gently. My chest felt tight. "I used it like Dr. Patel said." He sat beside her, hand against her back. "Sounds better now," he said. "Proud of you." She brightened. "Miss Carter said I read the fastest today." "That's because you're brilliant." He carried her to the bedroom they shared, tucking her under the faded unicorn comforter. "I'll make things better," he whispered. Once, he'd said the same words to another girl in another cramped room. "Don't worry, Rosie. When we're grown, I'll find you." He never had. Life became shifts, bills, and hospital visits. The promise faded, until tonight, when he'd seen her face on the desk of the woman who could fire him with one email. Why would Ava Kensington, a billionaire tech CEO, keep a photo from a state group home? By the time his next shift started, the question had hardened into a decision. He needed to see that photo again. At 10:45 p.m., Daniel swiped his badge onto the executive floor. The hallway outside Ava's office was dark, exit signs glowing. His heart pounded as he eased open the glass door. The skyline glittered beyond the windows. He didn't turn on the overhead lights. He crossed to the desk and picked up the frame. "That's you, isn't it, Rosie?" he whispered. A briefcase sat beside the chair, flap half open. Papers spilled out. The top page bore a crest that he hadn't seen since he was 14. Meadoridge Children's Center. His stomach dropped. He reached for the folder. The overhead lights snapped on. "Mr. Ward," Ava's voice said from behind him, "would you like to tell me why you're going through my private files after hours?" Daniel froze, the file half pulled from the briefcase. "I was just..." The lie shriveled. "Dusting." Ava stepped closer, heels sharp on the floor. "Dusting inside my briefcase?" Her gaze went from the open folder to the frame in his hand. "Put that down." He set the photo on the desk, fingers shaking. "I recognize that place," he said before he could stop himself. "Meadow Ridge Children's Center." Ava's expression barely moved, but something in her eyes tightened. "You're out of line, Mr. Ward." "I lived there," Daniel said, "until I was 14. That's irrelevant." She closed the briefcase with a snap. "You've just violated company policy." "I'm sorry. It's just that girl in the photo. I knew her." The words tumbled out. Her name was Rosie. Little scar on her chin from the jungle gym. She used to talk about having a glass office one day so nobody could boss her around. For a heartbeat, Ava's face went pale. "What did you call her?" she asked. "Rosie," he said. "Rosie Lane." Silence stretched. Then Ava's voice cooled. "I don't know what game you're playing," she said, "but going through my files and personal items is grounds for termination. As of now, you're suspended. HR will be in touch." "Miss Kensington, I'm not trying to..." "Leave your badge with security," she cut in. "If you don't, they'll take it." He nodded. "Yes, ma'am." He pushed his card out, legs unsteady. In the elevator, his reflection looked like a stranger, eyes wide, jaw clenched. By the time he reached the lobby, the badge felt like it weighed a pound. Outside, the air bit through his jacket as he walked home. Mia was asleep on the couch when he got in, school papers everywhere. He eased a blanket over her and sank into the armchair. His phone buzzed once. Email from HR, investigation notice. He stared at the ceiling until gray light seeped in. When Mia shuffled out, he pasted on a smile. "Are you not going to work?" she asked. "Day off," he lied. "Chef's special breakfast today." "Pancakes?" Her eyes lit up. "You got it." While she stirred batter, the TV murmured in the background. Daniel barely listened until the anchor said a word that made his skin prickle. Meadow Ridge. He turned. On the screen, Ava stood before microphones. Logo wall behind her. "Kensington Tech is proud to move forward with the Meadow Ridge redevelopment," she said. Drone footage showed the sagging group home, the cracked basketball court. "We're transforming a neglected property into something our city can be proud of." Text crawled along the bottom. "Site to be cleared after acquisition closes Friday." "They're tearing it down," Daniel whispered. Mia tugged his sleeve. "Dad?" He blinked, forcing himself back to the kitchen. "Sorry, Bug. Flip that one before it burns." He walked her to school, each step heavy. He should be hunting for another job, calling landlords. Instead, the image of bulldozers chewing through cracked pavement wouldn't leave his mind. Meadow Ridge had been harsh, but it was home for kids who had nowhere else. After he dropped Mio off, he wandered, not ready to face the apartment. Without really deciding to, he ended up across the street from Kensington Tech, watching workers stream through the glass doors. "You're suspended," he reminded himself. But if he stayed silent, Meadow Ridge would vanish, and with it the last trace of the girl he'd promised to protect. An SUV pulled up to the curb in front of him. The rear door opened. "Daniel Ward?" a voice called. He turned. Two company security officers stepped out, badges catching the light. His chest tightened. "If this is about last night, Ms. Kensington requested you come upstairs," one of them said. "Immediately." Daniel stared. "Requested? I don't even work here right now." "Sir," the other guard said, gesturing to the open ISU door. "She told us to bring you to the boardroom." The elevator ride felt endless. Daniel walked between the two guards until they stopped at doors he'd only ever cleaned from the outside. Inside, a long table faced the windows. At the head, Ava Kensington stood, arms folded. "Mr. Ward," she said. "Sit." He took the empty chair, aware of his worn clothes. "Last night, this employee accessed my private files," she told the room. "He also claimed he knew the child in this photo." She lifted the frame. The two kids on the swing stared out. "Mr. Ward," she said, "repeat what you told me." "The picture was taken at Meadow Ridge Children's Center," Daniel said. "I grew up there. The girl's name was Rosie. Rosalind Lane. We were in the same unit." "For the record," Ava said, "my birth name was Rosalind Lane. I confirmed this morning that the center's files list a Daniel Ward admitted the same day I was." Daniel swallowed. "So, it really is you?" She didn't answer him directly. "When I left Meadow Ridge, I decided never to look back," she told the board. "I changed my name and built a new life." She tapped a remote. The screen lit with an aerial shot of Meadow Ridge. "This is the property we're buying," she said. "Current plan. Apartments here, campus here." "Last night, Mr. Ward reminded me Meadow Ridge isn't just property," she continued. "It's the only home some kids ever had." She clicked again. The blocks on the screen shifted. A broad middle section turned green. "This is the revised plan I submitted this morning," she said. "Smaller apartments, smaller campus. And in the center, a youth center and transitional housing built on the old footprint. Same name, new purpose." She set the remote down and finally looked straight at Daniel. "You asked why I keep that photo," she said. "It reminds me where I started. Somewhere along the way, I pretended it was just decoration." He managed a weak smile. "I wasn't trying to threaten you. I just didn't want Meadow Ridge erased." "I know," she said. "Security pulled your file and the cameras. You fix equipment on your own time. You buy coffee for the night staff. You're not great at following rules, but you are good at showing up." Ava slid a folder across the table. "Inside is an offer," she said. "Community Partnerships Coordinator for the Meadow Ridge Project. Full salary, health insurance, and a voice in these meetings whenever that place is on the agenda." Daniel opened it. The numbers made his head swim. "You want me to work with you?" "I want you to work for the kids," she said. "I'll handle investors. You tell us what actually matters on the ground." He let out a shaky laugh. "You suspended me last night." "Consider this an aggressive form of unsuspending," she said. "One condition," Ava added. "When the center opens, you bring your daughter. Mia, right? She should see a place built for more than just surviving." His eyes burned. "She'd like that," he said. The rest of the meeting blurred. Daniel kept seeing that green square on the screen. When it ended, the board filtered out. Ava stayed by the window. Daniel walked over, letter still in his hand. "So," he said quietly. "Rosie?" She exhaled, almost laughing. "No one's called me that in decades." "I'm sorry I never came back," he said. "I meant it when I said I would." "You got older," she said. "So did I. Maybe this is how we keep the promise instead." Weeks later, sunlight fell on a fresh sign. Meadow Ridge Community Center,